It was an invitation to further confusion, and that was in not too long ago.
It was 95. I missed that one.
Was it 95? Yeah. Was it really that long ago?
95 or 96, because I missed those two. Those are the only two FCs I've ever missed. Well,
It can't have been. Because I was living in the Northwest, and I moved in 97.
Must have been more recent.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe around 2000 is when I was just invited as guest of honor. And I guess they decided that there was lots of cool music that people were listening to at furry conventions. They happened to be my music. So they said, let's have Heather as a guest of honor. So they brought me, and I'd never been to a furry con. I didn't know what furry cons were. I came in and I'm like, wow, this is cool. I like this. A bunch of furry costumes and a bunch of gay boys. I can get them behind this. Really, I was so at home. I never understood. I was always at home with gay guys. It was like, I like gay guys. They're great. I can relate to them.
No, I was in 2000. It's just that I spent the whole con hurting first and not see the con.
Yeah, that's quite possible then. Yeah, because they gave me 2 concerts, and I'd flown in by myself, and so I was taking care of myself entirely. And I did my first concert on Saturday night, and I had a fever of about 101. I had the flu that because it's in the wintertime, it's in February. Always get colds in February. So I'm sicker than a dog, and Trendane was my liaison. I finished my concert at about 11:30 at night, and he's like, are you going to be okay to go back to your room by yourself? I've got some stuff I need to take care of. I'm like, sure, Trendane, I'll meet you at breakfast tomorrow. So I wandered through the hotel. And literally, like I tell it on the stage, it was funny because I remember being patted on the head by a fox. I think a raccoon gave me a kiss. I had some discussion about sushi with the octopus in the elevator. And with 101 fever, this is really bad, okay? Because your little brain's just not here anymore. And all furries, yeah, this is great, So I got up to the room, and there's those little tempting pads with the pens right next to the bed. And I started scribbling, and it was 4 o'clock by the time I finally got to sleep. Get up in the morning, and Trendane meets me for breakfast. He says, you don't look like you got any sleep. You doing all right? I'm like, I didn't get any sleep. I said, but the good news is I didn't get sleep because I wrote a song. He goes, oh, cool. I said, I'm going to sing it tonight at the show. And he was like, great. He said, what's it about? And I said, it's about furries. And he goes, I don't think that's a good idea. And I said, what's the problem, Trendane? He goes, well, people get into the furry cons and they get excited, and that's really great, but they get the wrong impressions. They don't really get to know what it's all about until they've been here for a little while. And you might just want to rethink putting it out there tonight until you know more. And I'm like, Trendane, 20 years songwriting experience. I think I know what I'm doing. It's my show. I'm going to do what I want to do. He's like, okay, yeah, your show, you're the redhead, you do what you want. So it's a weird redhead thing. So that night, do my show, get to the end of it. We've had a great show, everything. My voice is starting to go because I'm blasting my pipes to pieces, but I could do that when I had a cold in those days. Get to the end of the show, and everyone was like, I said, I've had a great time. Thank you, furries. This is the first time I've ever met you guys. You guys rock. Yay! And I've been so inspired. I said, I had a great time, and I had such a good time. I was writing songs last night. Yay! I'm going to do a song for you now that I just wrote last night. Yay! And it's all about furries. Crickets. I look at them like, come on, guys, forget it. It's my show. I'm doing the song. So I did the song. And after I finished, they were jumping up and down, they were screaming, they were yelling, they were threatening me that I had to have it on the next album. So that was where Animals All the Same comes from. That was what wrote that song, and that became the furry song for me. And then after that, I started just considering that aspect of the community and started trying to see what I could do from animal points of view, and start, so the next albums I came out with, I was looking for songs that I could sneak in that were furry songs here and there, just to kind of be there for the furries. So I came out with, Blood and Passion was cool because the series that I was covering had werewolves in it, so I'm like, cool, another furry song. And Familiar's Promise was actually the one that came out the best, and that was because in this book series, these the descendants of Merlin always have companions with them, familiar companions, and these companions are great big Irish wolfhounds. And so Irene's Radford's the author, and she wanted me to write a song for the wolfhounds because they're so important throughout the series. And I said, okay, and I had a Jack Russell. And I'm like, well, I could dress you up in a gray towel and put stilts on you, but you're still a Jack Russell. But I did. I literally took Tycho into my lap, and I plopped him on my lap at the computer. And I said, okay, if I were you and I was going to swear fealty and loyalty to a human, what would I say? And so I just thought about the simplicity and the wonderful unconditional love that animals have for people, and how forgiving they are and supporting they are, and so I just started writing, and by the time I was through with the song, I was crying, and Tycho was like, "Are you okay? Are you all right? Do you need my service? Is there something I can do for you?" Because he's my service dog, and so I knew I'd gotten a good song, and so that's actually become a favorite furry song because it is from a real furry. So that's that. Hopefully that answers. Okay.
Are you still an otter?
Am I still an otter? Yes, on the stage. On the stage, I'm still an otter because, and I thought about this because it was funny. People would ask Heather what she was, and she said she was an otter. And you ask me, I'm a stag. But when I'm on stage, I'm an otter because on stage was the only place in the whole world where Heather and I were one. And we still are. I can't do performing without her because I think any creative aspect of humanity involves being balanced inside. In order to be a good artist, you have to be balanced. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, what kind of art, even really any kind of craftsmanship, anytime you're creating anything, you have to be balanced inside because there's times you're going to have to push for something that you want, and then there's times that something pushes back and you have to yield. And those two energies of yin and yang, that's your female and your male right there. And so for anybody to do any kind of good work at anything they do, they have to be balanced inside. So the otter is still the sign for me. It's still the symbol of balance. And so when I'm on the stage, there's a little bit of me playing there. There's a little bit of Heather, and it's very fluid, and it goes back and forth. So, yeah, I'm still an otter. It took me a long time to come up with that, too, because I couldn't figure out when I wandered around. I'm like, what kind of a furry am I? And Heather always knew the stag was there, but she could never quite understand it. And as I grow more and more comfortable in my new skin, I become more and more aware of how it works for me and what it means. And I still haven't learned how to articulate it yet, but I'm getting there, getting very close. So, because actually the stags are kind of unsung creatures in the furry community. There's not a lot of hoof and horn. Everybody likes predators, Some of the prey out there, Well, and yeah, I mean, there's the little mice and the small creatures, but for the big prey, there's not a lot of us out there. There's Warhorse, thank goodness he's out there. Yeah, I think there's something about the big quote unquote prey because we're not. Yes, we are prey, but we're not easy to take down.
Well, as you can tell, we had a lot of fun at that Q&A. Learned a lot about the man that is Alexander James Adams, a lot about him personally, of course, as well as his career and things. And it was just really wonderful dialoguing with him and like that in that relaxed forum. It was really cool just to learn more about the guy that is this fantastic musician and have him actually be humanized in front of us. It was really fun, and now I did have the opportunity to interview him one-to-one. Unfortunately, I was stupid, and I had the audio recorder on the wrong setting, and I was recording my pocket, not the interview. So, but he did promise to re-interview, and that's going to be coming up in the next couple of months. So keep an eye out for that. And I hope you learn more about this wonderful man. And until next time, this is JC reminding you to get your geek on with Pacific Fen Spotlight.
I scream and shout so you can hear. I tell you that the end is near. I still can't stand, I still can't think. You win me with my favorite drink. Give me that glass, though I feel asinine. And if I can't grump, I'll drink plum wine.
Hi, JC here with another Pacific show.